authorities have expressed concern over killings of their own. The commemoration day on National Police Day was very well attended yesterday, but the day comes amidst a number of challenges that are faced by the force. The Commission of Inquiry into Policing in Khayelitsha has found that residents are forced to take law into their own hands due to inadequate policing. Claims of police brutality were also raised during protests in Sasolburg last week. We are joined now in the studio by Police Commissioner Ria Phiyega. It's good to have you, Commissioner. Thank you very much for joining us. Looking back at the last financial year, how was the year for the police force?
It was a tough year, and a lot was demanded of police. But we remain very steadfast and committed in terms of our role. Our role is to ensure that people of South Africa are safe and are secure. Our role is to ensure that we enforce the law. Our role is to ensure that there is public order. But as we do so, we continuously fight criminals who are equally at war because they want their turf and their space protected to continue with their criminal activities.
Yeah.
And I think it is in this space that a lot of the deaths of our members come to realize. Yesterday was a day where we were commemorating the death of those members. It was a day where we were reflecting to look at the negative impact of some of these criminal activities on our members.
Rama, we talk about the death of police officers, and let's look at the numbers. I mean, last year, 91 police officers lost their lives in the line of duty. We're talking about figures between April and March, and this year alone, already 5 officers have lost their lives. So, I mean, the figures they're a cause for concern, I imagine.
Absolutely. And this is why it is important for us to hold the commemoration day that we are holding, because we are using that service of commemoration to highlight to society the importance of assisting us to ensure that we work together to keep our police safe, because the death of one policeman is the death of a nation. We actually put to threat the constitutional democracy of our country by killing those that are there to protect the nation.
Yeah. And I think the saddest thing is, I mean, just reading newspapers today is the families that are left behind and the stories that they tell of sending their husbands and loved ones off to the line of duty and then they never return home. And I think that's the reality.
It's the most painful thing.
Yeah.
And I'd like to say, you know, as they say in Xhosa, nabo ngabantu. They're made of flesh and blood. They come from families. They have children. They have hopes, like everybody in society, to take care of their own families.
Yeah.
All they are doing is to serve the nation, and the community and members of the society should allow them to serve. Yeah. And we should preserve their lives.
Let's turn our attention, however, to some challenges that the force is facing right now, and I think the 2 big ones, and let's isolate them, but let's talk about the Khayelitsha Commission of Inquiry, where residents are saying that there is no policing and that they have to take the law into their own hands. I mean, what is your response to this?
I'm sure you would have read that our minister was in court to actually defend the stance of the police around the commission. Because all the police are doing is really to reach out and deliver services to the people of Khayelitsha. And I'm sure once we have dealt with the sub judice matter through the courts, truth shall come out that police do service members of Khayelitsha. Yes, there could be challenges, but those challenges, we need to sort them out jointly with the community, because policing can never win on their own. Policing can be effective if we work very closely with community members, because these criminals that we're talking about are our children, they're in our homes. They are our neighbors, they are next door.
Yeah.
They are our cousins, we know them. So if as a society we get into action and we join hands, our capacity to reduce crime would be intensely enhanced.
Yeah. Let's talk about another issue, and that is the claims of police brutality that were raised during the protests that happened in Sasolburg. When we saw the visuals that were going on, and we as South Africans, obviously we're not all there, but we are witnessing what's going on. But now the claims against the police for Sasolburg?
I'm going to respond to you by using a question. The destruction of property that we saw, that is not what we want our society to be. I believe it is important for us as society to appreciate the fact that whilst we have rights, we have responsibilities. Our Constitution allows us to march, to protest, and to raise our concerns. But we should do so in a very responsible fashion. Some of those business people that you saw their shops, their businesses and their lives have been destroyed. We've seen cars being burnt. We've seen members of the community attacking the police station. And I would just want to say, all we would like to do as police is to ensure that public order is maintained, is ensure that South Africans can peacefully march, can peacefully protest. But as we do so, let us all appreciate the fact that there's a responsibility.
So what you're saying is that when police brutality is needed, it will happen?
Calling it police brutality, I would not agree to. It is not brutality. What we are trying to do is just to ensure that there's public order. We maintain law and order. That situation was messy. You have seen it yourself. And you've seen cars that were burnt. You've seen our police station being plundered. You've seen a lot that is wrong. And I believe we can work together as a nation, members of the public, so that they can exercise their constitutional rights.
Yeah.
And we can serve the nation by ensuring that we support their peaceful marches, and we ensure that they have the space to express their concerns in a legitimate as well as responsible manner.
Let's talk about the Farnham Commission into Marikana now. This, of course, stealing global headlines, and this is still a huge issue for concern, and we talk about the behavior of police on that day. You know, your response to all of this regarding actions taken by the police on this day, would it remain unchanged if it had to happen all over again?
I think coming to the Commission, I'd like to give the Commission a chance, because probably I'll be called at some point to the Commission. And if I'm called, I wouldn't like to respond to in a public space like this. I think I would like to treat it as a matter that is still requiring us to respond to. And we are cooperating as police. We will give our story, we will give our views, and we hope that the Commission shall be able to give us an outcome of the hearing, as well as to ensure that that outcome shapes and informs how we all go forward, you know, as a nation, as communities, as labor, and as everything. But we're fully cooperating with the Commission in this regard.
All right, unfortunately we're going to leave it there, but just on my final question to you is, I know that you're planning a meeting with all the police stations around the country. What is that one message that you want to give to all police officers out there?
I want to say to the police officers, our responsibility is to ensure that South Africans are safe. We must maintain law and order. We must ensure that public order is maintained in this country. We must protect our democracy. It is a constitutional democracy that we all cherish, and police are there to ensure that it is protected.
All right, National Police Commissioner Ria Phiyega, thank you very much for talking to us on Morning Live.
Thank you.
All right, let's take a break.